Forward and Out has been made possible by the generous support of the following: The Loft, Lesbian and Gay Community Services Center, In the Life, Stephanie's Living Room, Psychological Motivations, The Color Group, Carol Halbert, Licensed Associate Broker, The Coven Cafe, Bars Club Cafe, Metropolitan Design Associates, the Second National Gay and Lesbian Business and Consumer Expo.
Place the ring on Trisha's finger and repeat. With this ring, I consecrate you unto me.
I consecrate you unto me.
This day as my life's partner.
This day is my life's partner.
I am my beloved's.
I am my beloved's.
And my beloved is mine.
And my beloved is mine.
Trish, if you'll repeat after me, please. With this ring, I consecrate you unto me.
I consecrate you unto me.
This day as my life's partner.
Today is my life's partner.
I am my beloved's.
I am my beloved's.
And my beloved is mine.
And my beloved is mine.
Your rings also represent an unbroken circle of love given and received in freedom. Now let each person assembled here offer his or her own way of silent prayer, that the merged spirit of this gathering engulf and bless the union of Eileen and Trish.
With us today is the Reverend Vivian Chek, an interfaith minister who includes same-sex unions as part of her ministry. I'm Sandra Gonzalez, and welcome to Forward and Out. And welcome to you. Thank you for being on our show.
Hi, Sandra. Thank you for having me.
You said something interesting before we began. You didn't start out life as an interfaith minister. That came later.
Absolutely. I was born into the Jewish faith and actually didn't practice much, but the rich heritage has always stayed with me. 15 years ago, actually going on my 16th, I opened a restaurant with my life's partner.
You can tell us the name of the restaurant.
It's called the Coven Cafe. It's in Nyack, New York, and we'd get phone calls, and we'd get calls like, "Is this a gay place?" And we'd say, well, everybody looks like they're having a good time. Or we'd answer questions like, well, are there gay people there? And we'd say, well, there are people that are having fun, but we're Jewish and it's not kosher. You know, so please come down and enjoy yourself. Everyone here is, you know, you're welcome.
Right.
And it evolved into a place where people of all kinds of preference and religions and backgrounds come and enjoy themselves. And I'm in my second generation with people who've had children and brought children for years and years. And a friend of mine had gone to a seminary, and she told me how wonderful this rabbi was, who had started the seminary in New York City about 12 years ago. And I did a little investigating. At that time...
Now, this was a traditional seminary.
This is a non-traditional seminary. This is
non-traditional, okay.
Yes, in that it wasn't one religion or one practice of any sort. The board is made up of people of every religion and every practice, and this is what we study.
And this is what is known as interfaith
Interfaith being anyone who believes that there is a greater spirit, a God, a divine light. And there are many of us out there. Even though we've had formal religious training, many have moved away from that because it's not giving us what we really need. It's not feeding the soul that we have.
Did you feel that you were betraying your Jewish roots at all by sort of branching out into the interfaith?
No, not at all. Judaism to me is a culture. And because we have been dispersed throughout the world, it's certainly a very rich and exciting culture, and I can't give that up. That's something within my soul.
Right.
But as the rabbi said at the seminary, you're rooted in your Jewish culture, but your branches and your arms reach out to everyone. And that's what interfaith basically is. It's the belief in the spirit and the soul.
Well, judging from that description, that very loosely worded description, catering to the gay and lesbian community almost sounds like a given.
Absolutely. People that love one another.
That wasn't a conscious decision on your part to include them in your ministry then? That just sort of happened?
It was all part of it. I had spoken to many people who had tried to have ministers or pastors of their own churches and temples. I included had this problem, and they would not perform these ceremonies for them because they were same-sex. My daughter wanted to marry, is married actually, and wanted to marry a man who was not of the Jewish faith. And I had asked a rabbi who I knew well to perform the ceremony. It happens that this rabbi was gay. And I said, well, this is great, you know, he's going to perform the ceremony. And he flatly refused because my son-in-law now was not of the Jewish faith. And I thought that was just a slap in the face. And part of my feeling was that people who are of same sex and love each other should certainly have an opportunity to, as you said before, have a wedding and have their family and tell the world that they are together.
Now, same-sex unions, when did you officially begin to do this? This is not a new phenomenon. I mean, you've been doing this for a while now.
Well, it's about 2 years now. And I say I've done probably about 4 weddings for heterosexual couples and maybe 15 or 20 weddings for same-sex couples.
Well, I would like to mention that we did see at the top of the show 2 people who we will talk to later.
Yes.
Who you've married.
Trish and Eileen, yes.
So, I mean, it's almost like you're joining together friends in a sense. You've known them for a while and then they come to you and ask you to...
Well, some do and some don't. I am advertised in some of the gay publications, and I have gotten calls from those publications from people all over the metropolitan area. You know, Jersey, Connecticut, New York City, the boroughs, and I've traveled to Long Island, and I've traveled to Brooklyn. I've had people come to have the ceremony performed at my own home, and it's been very exciting for me.
Do you incorporate traditions of straight ceremonies in these same-sex?
Well, there are certain ritualistic type things that I do discuss with the people that I'm going to perform the ceremony for, whether or not they want something incorporated from their own backgrounds or religions that they perhaps like breaking of the glass in the Jewish ceremony.
Well, that's actually very interesting. So you can bring things in.
Oh, yes.
And sort of go back and forth. And
each ceremony is basically different because the people are basically different.
Right.
And
but that's entirely up to the couples.
Absolutely.
That's their decision.
We definitely meet once or twice before the ceremony. We discuss all this. It's tailored to their needs and desires, and it's also tailored to their families that are going to be there if they want to have a bridesmaid or a best man or a father to walk their daughter down the aisle. And I've done just about everything you can think of that straight marriages have within the gay community.
And that includes any sort of religious, very straight religious traditions?
Usually they're not.
Yeah.
Because
That doesn't surprise me too much, though.
Most people who have chosen this path of life do not want to incorporate the old religious dogma into their ceremonies.
Now, you said something before. Do you counsel the couples before they actually participate in the marriage ceremony?
I do speak with them. Counseling is usually not something they need when they've come to this point. Most of them have been together for a considerable length of time and just want to bring their families in to share their happiness with their families. And that's the best part, because there are a lot of family members who do come to these ceremonies and embrace these people as if it were a straight marriage.
Right. But if a couple were, say, just starting out and they approached you about performing a ceremony for them, would you be reluctant at that point?
I would definitely speak with them a number of times and make the decision of whether or not I felt that they were old enough or perhaps together long enough to take this step, because I take it very seriously.
Yeah.
It's not a game, and it's very meaningful to me.
Have you ever turned anyone down and refused to?
I've gotten phone calls such as, oh, I met this person at a bar and we want to get married. And I say, well, do think about it for a week or so and call me back. And usually
A week
they don't,
or so?
Yes, usually they don't call back.
Oh,
And I know
okay,
they
so that's
won't.
enough time then.
So it's almost a joke for them, and it's not a joke for me.
Right. Well, once again, I'd like to remind our audience that this is Forward and Out, and we're speaking today about interfaith same-sex unions. Oh, I think that's correct, actually. The next portion of our show is a discussion with two couples who've been joined by Vivian Chek, Alan and Rob, and Trish and Eileen. Thank you for being on our show today.
Thank you for having us.
My first question out in the green room was, how did you find out about us? But you found out about us through
From Vivian.
And it turns out that you're all friends and you've all known each other for a long, long time. Let's begin with Trish. When did your ceremony take place?
October 22nd of 1994.
So you're practically newlyweds.
Yes, we're
Yeah.
still in the honeymoon
How are you?
stage.
So how long had you been together before you got married?
Since 1979.
15
October
years.
of 1979.
That's quite a long time.
Yeah.
And how about you? How long have you been together?
About a year.
A year, yeah.
Prior to your...
Prior to our ceremony, which was
Right.
in 1993 in September.
Yeah. So we're going on almost 2 years of marriage.
That's pretty fast, though. I
Yeah.
mean, it's you made that decision in a year of being together.
Yeah, we felt very comfortable together, and
We had known each other through the community on and off, but we had only been seeing each other for about a year when we decided to make the commitment.
When you say decide, I mean, what made you decide to do this?
We just, it was a feeling inside. It
Yeah,
was
it
a comfortable
was just
feeling.
something that I knew that would work. It would, we just knew we had to be joined together. It was life partners, and this is the person I want to be the rest of my life with.
And Rob and,
This-
Rob and Alan were the first people that I
Really?
did the commitment ceremony
Right.
for. So I was as nervous as they were. And of course, being the Reverend, I had to calm them, which was very
Which is
difficult.
no small...
No small task.
Right.
At all.
There hasn't been a moment's regret then. I'm
Not
getting
at all.
this from the two of
Not
you.
at all.
Hmm.
No, it's been great.
Now, I mean, this is kind of a silly question, but did one or either or both of you pop the question? I mean, how did that work? Did you have a very civilized discussion and say, well, hon, do you want to get married? Or did somebody just come out and say it?
Well, I think for Eileen and I, it was marking the 15th anniversary of being together, and that we wanted to do it in a very special way. And we figured that making a commitment ceremony and asking our family and friends and to come with us. And it also was a point where the two of us were really coming out to our families at that point.
You had been together all that time, but they didn't know the nature of your relationship.
Well, they all know,
They
but
kn-
they
well,
never,
they knew,
that
but they didn't
unspoken
say.
no.
Said, okay.
Yeah, basically Eileen and I lived our lives separate from our families in that
That can be
respect.
very difficult to do.
Yeah,
It
very
was.
difficult.
It was, yeah.
We've, had come over the last couple of years of coming to terms with a lot of things and realizing that after the death of two very special people in both of our lives, that it was pushing us towards standing our ground and just our true selves coming out, and this is kind of our way of saying, here we are, come join us, and they did, and it was wonderful.
Oh, they embraced the whole idea of it, and the two of you together and everything.
My sister came all the way from Reno, Nevada. She was in Arizona now. She's in Reno.
Did they participate in the ceremony at all?
No, not really. They watched.
They watched.
We had some very good friends of ours stand up as witnesses. They were the first couple that we had ever come out to. And we asked them to be our witnesses, and they were thrilled.
Yeah.
They were really
They've been with us every step of the way, and kind of like our surrogate family for a long time. My sister, who came from Reno, who is also gay and very active in the gay community out there, and of course she wouldn't miss it. But
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Did your families also attend your ceremonies? I mean, I had the privilege of seeing the videotape from your wedding.
We had,
and it was quite an affair.
We have an extended family. Our family goes beyond just our immediate family, and we had a lot of family and extended family and close friends come. We had basically both of our best friends stand up. My best friend from previous years and his best friend from previous years stood up for us at the wedding.
Well, and in watching your tape, there were a lot of the traditional elements of weddings that I grew up on, obviously. The walking down the aisle, and someone giving the other away, and that sort of thing. Was that deliberate on your part? I mean, you wanted it that way?
We wanted it that way because all our friends, our close friends, wanted to be a part of the ceremony. That's the only way we could think of having them a part of the ceremony.
Oh, I see.
Is have, like, my friend Lisa had given me away, and my best friend Andrew stood up for me, and the two friends that walked ahead of us, I mean, they're both of our good friends, and that's the only way we could really think about, having them joined into the ceremony along with us.
Exactly. We wanted them to be a part of the special moment in our life. It was a very special piece, something to begin our relationship on its way through the years, and we wanted our closest friends and family to be with us.
Well, it came off beautifully. It really did. In watching the tape, it was, I mean, I was kidding before when I said it was quite a fair. It was very large, and I just have to ask you, how many people were invited to this thing?
We originally had 130 on the invitation list, but it turned out to be 75 at the end.
That's still a nice amount.
It was big.
And that varies greatly from your ceremony, which I also saw. It was very intimate and very small. So it leads one to believe that you can customize this however which way you please. Was there any particular reason why you chose to do yours that way?
Well, I think we were holding it home. It was in our house that we did the ceremony, and that space-wise, we had to limit it, to it.
I think also that the people that were closest to us, we wanted them to be there and be comfortable and not have to travel too far or worry about, buying a new dress or something like that. And everybody came very nicely dressed, but it was just to make everybody comfortable and enjoy themselves and have a good time. And it really worked out. The weather was gorgeous. I mean, we're outside. It was really an incredible day. And we had a great time. We enjoyed it.
The God Goddess shine their light on them, because October 22nd, was the most magnificent.
It really was.
It was warm.
Gorgeous.
It's very warm.
We were out on the deck, and people were dancing.
And the foliage was in full bloom.
The foliage was magnificent. Really great.
Well, the thing that strikes me in both the tapes that I'd seen and in commitment ceremonies that I've attended is the exchanging of the vows can be a very touching moment because it's something that you write yourself, and it's very personal. Can you say a little bit about that? I mean, it's aside from the fact that it comes from your heart.
Well, we didn't really write our own vows. We basically just had the traditional vows, just like a regular ceremony would have.
Right.
Because I was choked up enough as it was. I was never something I was thinking of. I was crying enough as it was. So.
It was a very emotional thing. I mean, we had a hard time going through the vows ourselves, and it was definitely something deep from within our hearts as we were saying it.
Right. And yours were a bit more.
Yeah, we did write ours, and it was just saying something to Trish that I wanted her to hear, and I wanted everyone else to hear how I felt about her at that moment. And it was not easy, you're right. It was. I started speaking very fast, it wasn't easy, but it was a way of communicating my feelings to her and to everyone. so that they would accept it and understand it and be happy for us.
It was very beautiful. As a matter of fact, I would like a copy of that, because if I could, I would use that for some other commitment ceremonies that I do. She wrote a beautiful piece.
Well, Eileen's also very talented as a
Writer besides, yes.
Did you know that these were the vows she had
She
written?
wouldn't let me. She wouldn't.
So you didn't know.
She read it to everybody else but me.
Not everybody.
Well, you read it to a lot of people, and everybody just kept saying, "God, it's really good." And I'm like, "Oh, geez, now I've got to write mine, and I don't even know what to do."
You did fine.
You did
fine.
I'm a person of a few words as far as public speaking and whatnot, but Eileen writes very, very well, and of course her stuff will come out, and I really wanted to go first, Vivian.
Hard act to follow, let me tell you.
And I'm not usually the one that breaks down easily and cries, but man, you really did a number on me. I couldn't talk for a couple of minutes afterwards.
It's very powerful hearing.
It is.
Exactly how your lover feels about you. Sometimes those moments they sort of take you aback. It's like, wow, that's really how you feel.
And it probably was the single most, I don't think I'll ever feel that incredible rush of joy that day brought. It was just, we were on top of the world. The years are good, and they're going to be good to us, just as the years pass. But you can't put it into words.
Yeah,
you just can't put it into words how you feel that day, as I would think every bride and groom feels on that day.
Do you feel that your relationship now, after having gone through the ceremony and being committed in this new way, has it changed your relationship at all? I mean, you've been together 15 years. So I really want to ask you if it's changed. But the two of you have been together a year. So you're still growing together, and your relationship is progressing with every day. How has this impacted on it?
I think it's made it stronger. It's made it stronger.
Very much so. It's made it a lot stronger. It's made it a lot more open and closer to each other than I think I've seen any other couple, whether it be straight or gay, combined. I mean, it's a very powerful ceremony. I mean, when you make this commitment, it is for life, and it brings everybody a lot closer.
Is that how you always felt about marriage per se? I mean, I don't quite know what to call it, if it's same-sex unions or marriages, so I'm going to say marriages for the sake of this conversation. Is that how you always viewed marriage?
I always have.
Yeah.
I figure if this is the person that you want to do any type of commitment ceremony with, this is the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with.
Exactly.
And that's the way I've always felt.
And how about you? 15 years.
I keep saying, everybody keeps saying that.
That's a long time.
It's a long time. And yes, I think it has changed things a little bit in the fact that I think people view us, we've always been together, places together, if you see Trish, you see Eileen, or if you see Eileen, you see Trish. But we're treated more like a couple now than I think we ever were. We work in the same institution, and I work the late shift, and Eileen works the earlier shift. So we always, before she goes home to work, we stand on the corner talking, before she goes home. And it's funny that our friends who, know our situation, who work at the place that we work at, oh, isn't that cute? The two of them.
There they are.
Here's the happy couple, and I'm standing out there in my shirt sleeves, and she says, that's love, It's like, I also feel that within my own family, there's a greater acceptance of Eileen and being that special person in my life.
Right.
Nowadays, my mother ignores me and talks to her.
Well, that often happens in relationships. Now, how would you respond to critics, both gay and straight? Because there are critics in the gay community who argue that same-sex unions are sort of mimicking the heterosexual community. I have heard that from people in the past. How do you feel about that?
I don't say it's mimicking. It's a natural thing, even whether you're gay or straight. It's, you find somebody who you fall in love with and you want to be with, and you're making a commitment to them.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just the same. It's the same thing in the straight community. I mean, we're basically all the same. The only difference is who we prefer in an intimate relationship just somebody of the same sex.
Right.
We all go to work, we all pay taxes, we all, have our bills to pay, and, we have to eat food and all that and get rest just like anybody else. We just prefer in our intimate lives to be with somebody of the same sex. So it's not mimicking, it's a natural need.
Right. To want to connect with someone on that
Exactly.
level and commit to them, and it's all the same.
And just because we are the way we are, why can't we have it too?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's probably the strongest argument. Yeah.
I have watched and gone to many a wedding of heterosexual couples, and I do, and I am a law-abiding citizen, and why can't I have that same status?
Right.
I mean, when the people are calling you to buy stuff, is Mr. and Mrs. the Loom home? I said, there are no misters in this household.
That's right.
If same-sex unions were made legal, would you register your marriage?
Immediately.
Definitely.
Yes.
If I
Definitely.
may,
Yeah.
because I am legally ordained and licensed in the state of New York, the certificates that I give may be legal documents
Really?
when this does change.
So they're, in some sense, already
They are.
legally bound.
Yes.
That's very interesting.
Yes. If in fact tomorrow the law would be that these were looked upon as legal marriages, they would be, just because I am licensed to do this in the state of New York.
That's something I don't think, well, I didn't know, and I don't think our viewers knew that about same-sex unions. This is kind of a funny little question, but when people see your rings, and I'm speaking mostly of the straight world, when they see your rings, I see you all wear them, and they ask you, are you married? What do you say?
Actually, no one's asked me that.
Yeah.
No, they haven't. They've said, "Oh, new ring," and I'll say, "Yes, very pretty, thank you."
And then you go on to the next thing.
Yeah, that's basically it. They just say, I
They
like your
have
ring,
not-
and
All right, well then
that's-
let's phrase this differently. If somebody asked you, were you married? Are you married?
I would tell them yes. I would definitely
you
tell them
explain to them the nature of your marriage?
yes. Yes, I would. I definitely would.
So I work in a large community that's very religious, and I wouldn't say yes, I'm married. I would say I'm committed to somebody.
Right.
Is I made a commitment, a lifelong commitment to somebody, and depending on the person and how open I would feel that they would accept it, yes, I would explain it to them. I have
Right.
people who I work with, and people who just know me from the community who know that I am gay and that I am married to Alan.
Right.
And then I have people who I work with who don't know that I'm gay, but I say they know I'm committed to somebody, and that I'm very happy.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, we've run out of time. But I want to thank you all for being here with us, and I wish you great luck.
Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Lives
Thank you.
together.
Thank you.
That's it for Forward and Out today. If you have any questions or comments, please write to Forward and Out, P.O. Box 583, White Plains, New York, 10603. Thank you for watching. See you next time.
Just wait to see. Our wedding day is not very far. Our folks will whisper and say how lovely we both are. We'll have a ball dancing and out when we get married.
Your local Gay and Lesbian Community Services Center is a place to connect and get involved. Various ongoing groups and social events are conducted at or by your center, and it is also a clearinghouse of gay and lesbian information nation and worldwide. We urge you to join, get involved, and support your community. If you need information about HIV and AIDS, ARCs, AIDS-related community services, offers counseling, support groups, referrals, educational forums, and much more. Call the ARC's AIDS line at 914-992-1442. ARCS is here to help.